This is your sister Naima B. Robert here, and I wanted to pop on here just to have a quick chat. For those of you who are married with kids, you need to hear this. Now, before I get started, I would love for you to take a few seconds just to like this video, share it with someone, and please subscribe to the channel. If you've been enjoying the content, if you've been getting benefit, my goal is to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the month. You can help me get there, inshallah. So just do the subscribe thing and click on the notification bell so that you can get updates whenever I send any of these videos out into the world. So with no more ado, let's talk about it. So if you've been following me for a little while, especially over the past few weeks, you know that I'm really keen on talking about marriage. And I'm going to put it out on the line for you, just so that it's, clear why I'm talking about this, why we're focusing on this, why we're having the marriage conversation, right? And it's this: the marriage between a Muslim man and a Muslim woman is the foundation of the society, right? The man and the woman who come together for the sake of Allah, have children, and and everything that goes with that in preparing the next generation. This is the foundation of our society. If our marriages are broken, it impacts everyone. If our marriages are unhealthy, it impacts everyone. If our marriages are full of pain and loneliness and isolation and all of that stuff, it impacts everyone. It impacts the individual believers, the man and the woman, and it impacts their children, because their children are now growing up in an environment that is not a healthy, wholesome, loving, secure environment. And this is what I really want to talk about today, because not only do the children not grow up with that safety and security and that grounding, they also are not learning how a healthy marriage works, right? How parents, how husbands and wives communicate, how they deal with each other, what respect looks like, what love looks like, what commitment looks like. They're not growing up with that. And as a result, this shapes them. It shapes the way that they see the world. It shapes the way they see themselves. It shapes the way they see their future. How many of us know, boys and girls, we know a lot about this from the women's side, who say they're never getting married because they saw such turmoil when they were growing up, right? So we know that the environment that we're creating at home is not just this issue between you and I. This is something that our children are observing and our children are picking up on, and it becomes a part of them. And they go out into the world either with, warped ideas about what marriage is, or an aversion to marriage. Like they're like, hell no, like I will never want to be in that situation. So it behooves us, for those of us who care about the community, who care about the ummah, it behooves us to try to heal as much as possible the relationships, the husband and the wife, that foundation, right? To work towards healthy relationships, to train our young people in the way of having healthy relationships, and to raise our children with an understanding of what a healthy relationship is. So this is why we're having this conversation. So I want to talk specifically today about being married and having children. Now, I had a friend come and visit me today. And mashallah, this sister, her eldest is 22 and her youngest is about 10, I think. And she's been living here in Egypt for a long time now, and her husband goes back and forth to their home country to work. So he provides for the family. She basically a lot of the time is kind of single-handedly raising the children, okay? Now this sister, I have to say, this sister has a very different background to most people, mashallah. She came from a polygamous family, so her father had 2 wives. I think she has about 20 siblings, and they are all extremely close. And so one of the reasons why, I digress for a second here, but one of the reasons why I'm able to speak so positively about polygamy or polygyny is because I have seen and I know of so many examples of polygamy and polygyny done right. most of us either don't know anyone in polygamy or we've heard the horror stories, right? Let me know in the comments if you think that's a fair thing to say. But this is a vibe I get. In the culture, what tends to proliferate is polygamy horror stories, right? And so when you mention polygamy and you even mention anything positive about it, everyone's first response is, oh, no, 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 no. But the way people do polygamy nowadays, or the word polygamy, da 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 da, it is all this negativity attached, right? So this sister is an example of a sister who grew up in a polygamous household. She grew up with two mums, and she is the only wife in her situation at the moment, right? But she's come from that background of family, of commitment, of traditional Islamic values. So in her setup, she's telling me, I'm asking her the news of the children, who's doing what, the son is studying in this country, the daughter's doing dentistry, the kids are in school, and, husband's working, and da da da. And I looked at her and I just said to her, you've done well, mashallah, you've done well. And she just smiled because she's so humble, mashallah. She just was like, oh, don't be silly, like this is just life. But you know what? My respect and admiration these days is so profound for those of you who've been married for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and you're still committed. You're in the trenches, you're doing the work, you're doing right by those kids. Now, this sister got married when she was a teenager. She was 17. I think her husband was about 15 years older than her. So like Maryam Lemo and her husband, what people nowadays would say, oh, red flags, she had those, right? But here she is. She's a wife. She's a mum. Now the kid's a bit older. She's always wanted to study Arabic, so that's what she's doing. But her first priority is her family, right? Just like her husband's first priority really is his family. And as a result, they're raising these children, helping them to stand on their own 2 feet and go out into the world. We're talking about, proposals that have come in for the daughter, who the son is interested in, this one and that one. And for me, at this stage in my life and at this stage in our society's culture, I'm so proud of our traditional values, our Islamic values. Now, I know that in the Muslim community, we had like so much fitna with cultural values, right? Culture was always pitted against Islam. Culture is the problem. Culture is wrong. Culture is this, as culture is that. But, what we don't want to do is throw the baby out with the bathwater. Culture is not all bad. There are some aspects of culture that are un-Islamic. We know what to do with those. There are some aspects of culture that are built on ideas that we don't want to see continuing, right? Prejudices, chauvinism, whatever the case may be, right? Sexism, all these kinds of things, right? Some aspects of culture come from that, and we don't really want to carry those with us either, because that's not from the deen either. But there are aspects of our cultures. And when I say our cultures, I really mean our traditional cultures, wherever we are from in the world. Pakistan, any Arab country, Africa, wherever. Our traditional values, they have value. They have kept our families together for generations. They have bonded grandparents and parents and children for generations. They formed the bedrock of whole civilizations. So we as Muslims who are in the West in particular, we need to be careful of just throwing out culture altogether and saying all culture is bad. So we want to be only Islamic, and then the rest of our culture, we throw it out and we adopt something else. My point is, my admiration and my respect is so profound for sisters like this sister who, on the one hand, is just an ordinary sister. She's not on social media. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't make any money. But she is the foundation of that family. And I'm not saying that to discount her husband, because mashallah, tabarakallah, dudes put in work, and may Allah reward him for that. But she is the heart of that household. And I admire that. I'm going to say it right now. I admire that. I admire the ability of my friends who, like I said, have been in marriages for many years. Their children are now really growing up and going into their next chapter. I admire their ability to stay the course, to work through the difficulties in their marriages, to work through the hard times, to stay committed to the goal. And I'm going to say this now, even though this might be triggering for some people, but be able to sacrifice their own desires for the benefit of the family. Now, why do I say, kind of give a caveat for sacrificing? Because for many of us, we've always viewed sacrificing, especially a woman sacrificing, as like, no way, like we don't do that. Okay, like not, it's 2022. Okay, we ain't out here sacrificing. And I get it. Especially nowadays, we all want to self-actualize, quote unquote. We all want to achieve our individual potential. We all want to see our dreams come true. Here I am looking at this situation and I'm like, you know what? The emphasis in a marriage cannot be on my own feelings, my own dreams, my own expectations, what I want. In a marriage, especially when you have children, it's not about you. It's not about you, sis. It's not about you, bro. It's like what Muawiyah said in the brothers panel. Once you two come together and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with children, this is bigger than you. It's way bigger than you. And I think a lot of the time because of society, when we're in a marriage, we make the family and the state of the family about what's happening between you and I. Are we cool? Are we good? Are you making me feel the way that I want to feel? Are you pouring into me? Are you meeting my needs? Are you meeting my expectations? Are you my soulmate? Are we meant to be together? And all these questions, right? Which, to be fair, like nobody was asking them 2 generations ago. Like, let's be frank here. Okay, this is the truth. But now, of course, because of society, that's what we're doing, right? So we're looking at our spouse and saying, you don't fit the bill as my ideal guy, or what I thought I was going to be, or who I have become. And we're making it about you and I, husband and wife. And if I'm not happy with you, this can't work, right? If I can't deal with you, like this can't work. And what I'm saying is, this sister that I'm talking about, I know, even though she will not say it, mashallah, because she's a very humble sister and very down to earth, I know there were times when she felt like, I'm doing this all on my own. Like, he's over there, and I'm here. I'm stressed. It's a lot for me. I'm tired. All of these things, right? And, there may have been times when she looked at her husband and just thought, like, well, what is this, right? Maybe, because she doesn't really have that kind of mindset, you see. So she may never have done it. But for you and I know that there will be times when you're like, oh, you know what? This is some joke thing, right? This is not what I signed up for, okay? And even worse, if we get into a marriage and we have these huge expectations, these high expectations of personal fulfillment, of personal validation, of personal me, gain within the marriage, and then we're not getting that, what we expected we would get, then all of a sudden our feelings change. Now we don't feel so good in the marriage anymore. Now we're not feeling this person so much anymore. Now it's like, you know what, I think there's something, I need to be somewhere else. I don't need to be here. And what I'm saying to everybody who's listening, if this makes sense for you, alhamdulillah. If it doesn't make sense for you, no worries. Keep it pushing. This message is not for you. But what I am saying is, if this message is for every one of you who is married, again, as I said before, to a decent person, and you have children together, it's not about you. It's about those kids. It's about the amana. It's about what Allah will question you about, and it's about what you will leave behind you. Seriously, wallahi, sisters, yeah, I'm going to say this directly to you. even if that brother, that man, doesn't tick all your boxes, even if he's disappointed you, even if, you know, you had these high expectations of your relationship, of your this, of your that, and all of this, right? And even if, the sad truth of it is, yeah, once we have children with someone, that person has been given a status by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which cannot be taken away by anyone. No one. If she is blessed by Allah to be the mother of your children, no one can take it away. You can't take that away from her. Your family can't take it away from her. Her new husband can't take it away from her. She will always be the mother of your children. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed that man to be the father of your children, same thing. You can't take it away from him. Your family can't, his family can't, society can't, no one can take that away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has now brought you two together to form new life. Wow. Wow. Your DNA, his DNA, your lineage, his lineage, and the two of you now, you've got this co-creation here. And they need you. Guys, they need us to be the adults. Those children who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose to entrust us with, they need us to be adults. They need us to fear Allah. They need us to sort it out. They need us to put them first. And I know that it's like sometimes, like, can't I live, right? Can't I live? Can't I breathe? Can't I do what I want to do? Can't I be who I want to be? Once the children are there, khalas. Not that you have no life anymore, but you can't put your own needs first. And I'm saying this as someone who has done it and has lived to regret it. So don't ever think that me, Naima B. Robert, that I'm sitting in a place of judgment of anyone out there. I'm saying this to you because I know I've experienced it myself. When you put yourself first at the expense of your children, unfortunately, guys, you can't make it up to them. You can't. You think you can make it up to your kids because you and your husband decided to call it a day, or you left him, or you ran him off, or he divorced you and you didn't want to make it work, whatever the case may be, right? You think that you can make it up to your children by marrying again. That's not how it works. Kids don't want a stepdad. They don't want a stepmom. They want their mum and dad. And sometimes a friend of mine who's in a big blended family, she was saying to me, you know, the crazy thing is, if the absent parent is a bad parent and the step parent is a good parent, like, and present, it's even more difficult for the children. And the children sometimes resent the step parent even more, because it's like, you're doing what my dad's supposed to be doing. You're doing what my mum was supposed to be doing, and I hate you for it. SubhanAllah. If you run off your children's father, if you get rid of your children's mother, you can't make it up to those kids. You can't. Don't ever think that you can. Whether it's by bringing in someone new, or buying them more stuff, or being extra nice to them, or any of the coping mechanisms that you've got, trust me when I say, you can't make it up to those kids. So my advice to everyone out there, pick your partner wisely, manage your expectations, and go in with the right intentions for the sake of Allah. If you prayed istikhara and it happened, clearly there was a purpose, there's a reason. And if your situation is decent, make it work. Make it work. Because it's not about you. Your focus needs to be those children. Your focus needs to be those children. And subhanAllah, in the end, guys, in the end, they're what matters. Of course, we're going to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's going to ask us, what did you do with the amana? What did you do with the trust? What did you do? At least you'll be able to say, Ya Rab, I gave my all. I gave my all for your sake so that these children could worship you and go into life stable and you know, be believers, live lives that are pleasing to you. I did my best to set an example within my home. I did my best to honor my husband. I did my best to honor my wife. I did my best to show my children that you don't just give up. Ya Allah, guys, if only you knew. Sometimes the lessons that we think we're teaching our children, especially us women, because we do more thinking like this, I think, than the men do. The lessons you think you're teaching your children when you make the decisions that you make, those are not the lessons. That's not what they take away. And like I said, not from a place of judgment, but literally like from a place of humility and knowing that I've made this mistake. Others around me have made this mistake. I see people continuing to make this mistake. Our children don't care about how happy we are as individuals. That's the truth. They don't. Our children don't care about our self-actualization. Our children don't care really about whether we hit 6 figures or we hit our ideal weight or, you know, find love again even. Our kids don't really care. Or how are you with them? If whatever you're doing out there makes you a better mum, then perfect, that's great for them. But other than that, trust me, our kids do not care about us and our vanities and our personal journey of this and that. Our kids don't care. And the reality is, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong, and Allah forgive me if I'm saying anything out of pocket, but a lot of the time, our personal journeys, they cost our children dearly. Nothing comes for free. Nothing. Nothing comes for free. Anything you want in life, you'll pay a price for it. And my good friend Fatima Barakatullah was the one who brought this to my attention. And she said to me, you know, when you are going out there and you're achieving your goals and you're doing this and you're doing that, to the rest of the world, it's so impressive. It's so wow, right? But I'm paying a price because my kids don't get to see me. Sometimes the price is worth it because you know that, okay, it's short term and then I'm going to go back to doing X, Y, Z, and sometimes it's permanent. So for all of us sisters who've been brainwashed by society to believe that being a mum is not good enough, that you need to be doing more, you need to be out there, you need to be making money, you need to be making moves, you need to be becoming a this and becoming a that, it's brainwashing. And the people who pay the price are the next generation. It's the children. It's the children who see that mum is more excited by stuff out there than she is by them. Mum is more committed to and more dedicated to her career than she is to them. Mum gets more satisfaction and joy from her colleagues than she does from them. That's what our children are getting. Sometimes we like to tell ourselves, you know, I want to see that I want to show my children that you can be a Muslim and you can do X, Y, Z, right? That you can be a Muslim woman and you can do X, Y, Z. Listen, if the fact that you're doing X, Y, Z means that they eat takeout twice a week and that dinner is never ready and that you're always too tired to read them a bedtime story, that your kids are not going to care. Why should they be happy for you? When your success and your drive and your dreams is costing them their childhood, that your vision of success is costing them their mum. Exactly. We pay the price in akhirah too because we're out here chasing dunya, guys. We are out here chasing the dunya. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. We are out here chasing the dunya. It's not our fault. It's a society that we live in. We're conditioned, we're brainwashed, we're programmed. But in those moments of reflection, we have to take stock. I see people in the comments making a lot of excuses for why it's okay this, it's okay that, but no, we don't have to do it this way, and we shouldn't think it can only be X, Y, Z. Sis, you're chasing dunya, and that's it. That's it. You want more money, you want a bigger house, you want to be able to say, I did X, Y, Z with my life, right? I did a degree, therefore I must X, Y, Z. When we boil it down, it's dunya. And I think we know as Muslims, what we can't afford is to exchange our akhirah for the dunya. And then we end up like everybody else, stressed, overworked, tired. Trust me when I say, guys, if I retire within the next 12 to 24 months, you know why. And I know why. We know how this drive and this push for dunya, we know how it impacts our health. We know how it impacts our families. We know how it impacts our sleep. We know how it impacts our relationship with our husband. We know how it impacts our relationship with our family. Because check this out, right? Everybody's pushing against this idea of women staying home to raise the children, right? From whichever direction. Either it's families who want you to earn money and also contribute to the household finances, or it's a husband who wants you to do that, right? Or it's society telling you that, you know, being at home is no and it's old-fashioned and whatever, right? So they want everybody in the workforce because they want everybody earning money so they can spend more money. It helps the economy. But look at our family structures. What the hey is going to be the hell of our communities in the next generation or two? When everyone's working and everyone's kids are in childcare or in school, no one has time to look after the elderly. No one has time to house the elderly. Our elderly are going to be in care homes, right? Our kids are going to be in daycare. Our marriages are going to be like at the fringes of the day. Then where will we be as a community, as a society, as Muslims? The structures, and this is what I'm saying about, I'm going to go back to my point about demonizing culture and demonizing tradition. Look at the living with in-laws situation. I talked about this on my interview with brother Shabir Hassan, how all we hear is horror stories of in-laws. Whenever you hear in-laws, it's like, it's a horror story, right? But there's a reason why our families worked the way they worked. There's a reason why, you know, parents were involved in the marriages, for example, right? There's a reason why people prefer to marry from within their group. There's a reason why daughters-in-law are invited into the family, you know, to be with the mother-in-law and blah, 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 blah. You know, and Mufti Mank talked about this in our conversation as well, right? About the benefits of intergenerational living. Now, I've gone off on a complete tangent, but what I'm saying is, wake up. It's not about you. You and your husband, you need to sort it out. And if he won't work with you, you need to do what you need to do on your end. I know lots of marriage coaches. Many of my best friends are marriage coaches. I've read so many books on this issue. And I know for a fact that most coaches will tell you that a marriage can be saved simply by one person changing. You don't both need to go to counseling. You don't both need to go to therapy. You don't both need to read the same books and have a conversation. A marriage can be saved by one person. So I'm going to leave you with that. Maybe we'll address that on a different live or whatever. But my point is this: you guys need to sort it out. If you're married and you have kids, there's a manner, there's a responsibility, and you need to get your head in the game. Both of you, get your head in the game. What's the game? It's not individual needs and wants and desires between the two of you. You guys are just, you're a conduit for this. You're literally just like the vehicle by which these children have come about. And now Allah has given you the responsibility to raise these children and do things properly. okay? And prioritize them. And make this your mission. Inshallah, you guys will see the Muawiyah Tucker podcast that I did for the marriage conversation with Muawiyah Tucker. And he talks about this. He breaks it down so beautifully. So I won't go into it now. Sis, just because you have children and I'm telling you to focus on the kids, I'm not saying to you that you need to completely disregard yourself and stop, caring for yourself and stop resting. No, I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that you should run yourself into the ground, because you can't pour from an empty cup, as someone said. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source. He is the source of our energy, of our love, of our care, of our ability to care for ourselves, for our families. The source is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's rizq in Rabbina. So that's where we need to go back to. Because for sure, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this amana, and this is a reminder for myself first, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this amana, it's because you are up to the task. You can do this. And you and your husband, work it out. Find your happy place within the marriage. Find your purpose within this family. Not to say you can't do anything else outside, but don't let anything else outside pull you away from this purpose. Because this is the purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask you about. Everything else is negotiable, but these kids, they're not negotiable. So I pray that this message resonates with you. If it makes sense to you, alhamdulillah, please leave a note in the comments with your takeaways and your aha moments and your biggest takeaway from this talk. It was just a short reminder, really. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody actually who has joined the channel, everybody who has liked, who has shared, who's commented. It's been absolutely amazing. Continue to do so. We've got lots more of these conversations, more coming. Inshallah, tomorrow we've got the polygamy conversation with the outstanding personal relationships family. So that's the next episode of the marriage conversation. And please, please, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to the channel. We want to get to 20k by the end of the month. And thanks for rocking with me. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.